The Tennessee Titans scored 30 points. Let's get it.
You are Locked On Titans, your daily Tennessee Titans podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Titans podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rowland. Titans fans, the Tennessee Titans won on Monday Night Football, and they scored 30 points on their way to the victory. Today's victory recap edition is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Folks, I don't care about the circumstances. I don't care if the Dolphins are despicably bad. I don't care if it was their third string quarterback. I don't care that Will Levis almost ruined the game at the beginning of the game. I don't care if Mason Rudolph is also bad. The Tennessee Titans won a football game, and I am going to be happy about it, okay? I am going to be happy about it. And not only did the Tennessee Titans win a football game, they scored over 30 points for the first time in over 1,000 days. 1,000 days we waited. Thank you, Brian Callahan. Thank you, offensive line. Thank you, defense. So much to talk about on today's show. I am going to talk obviously, just about my excitement for the Titans to win a football game here. Like, that's the number one thing that I'm going to be talking about. It's just being happy to be a fan of a team that won a football game. It's that simple. Be happy your team won. But also, we're going to do tighten up, tighten down in the second segment. And I am going to give a ton of tighten up love, especially to T'Vondre Sweat. My Lanta. What a game from the rookie defensive tackle. But at the end of the show, we will talk about some realities. But for right now, I want to see some tighten ups down in the chat. I want to see some thumbs up on the video. The Tennessee Titans won a game in primetime, scored 30 points. Now, if you don't know, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, 25 years as a Tennessee Titans fanatic. Cover the team for USA Today, Sports Illustrated, been hosting the number one Titans podcast for 6 seasons. The Tennessee Titans win this game 31-12 over the Miami Dolphins. And it was ugly at first, folks. I mean, we went to halftime and it was 9-3. The Titans looked disjointed. They couldn't really get anything going on the ground. Obviously, the quarterbacks were not playing that great. The Titans tried. They tried to make this game close. There in the second, third quarter, we had, a punt almost blocked. The Titans let a big return happen. The special teams are the special teams, man. They're special in a very different way. Let me just say that. But at the end of the day, this is exactly the game plan that I told you about yesterday's show. Don't do anything despicably stupid. Take the ball away from Will Levis. Will Levis wanted to ruin this game. He wanted to. He threw the interception. Stupid play. A terribly dumb interception, once again, from Will Levis. I don't know about you guys, but I've been going on FanDuel every single week and betting on a Will Levis interception. And my God, Will Levis buys me a free sandwich every single week. Thank you, Will Levis. But then he dives, hurts himself, and Mason Rudolph comes in. All right? And all of the haters in my comments have been saying, put in Mason Rudolph. Put in Mason Rudolph. Well, hey, guys, you got your wish, and the Titans got to win. 31 points. Now, Nick Folk is going to need an ice bath tomorrow. I bet his right leg is sore after all that action that he had. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Mason Rudolph was excellent or something like that. But the point is, you don't need the quarterback to be excellent in some of these certain situations. The Titans didn't need excellent quarterback play to beat the Chicago Bears. They just needed the quarterback to not kill them, to not turn over the ball a million times. And look at this. Oh, let's check. Let's just look one time. 1 sack. 1 sack allowed in the game. Miami has Jalen Phillips, Calais Campbell. Miami has Emmanuel Ogbah. Miami has a good secondary as well. Look, the Titans' offensive line, all of a sudden, the Titans' offensive line isn't a despicable mess. All of a sudden, they're run blocking and opening holes. All of a sudden, they're not giving up a million sacks. Why? Because competent quarterback play, even bad quarterback play that isn't an outright disaster, is how you win the game. The Titans did exactly what I said in my keys to victory. I'm going to throw them up again for you. Tackle, tackle, tackle. The Titans did not allow the Miami Dolphins to beat them with missed tackles, getting the ball to their speed guys, breaking tackles, and letting them free. The Titans didn't do that. Run the ball. I kept saying, take the ball out of Will Levis's hands as much as you possibly can and give it to Tajay Spears and give it to Tony Pollard. Well, look what we found here. 142 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Tony Pollard, 22 carries, 88 yards. Spears wasn't as efficient with 15 carries for 39 yards. But again, you didn't need to be. This is the JV Miami Dolphins. And look, I acknowledge JV Miami Dolphins. Mason Rudolph didn't play great. Mason Rudolph wasn't good. All of you people acting like Mason Rudolph is a starting quarterback in the NFL, don't think that you're right, because you aren't right. You are absolutely not right. Mason Rudolph is a backup. Now, I think he's a good backup. And this is why. He could just steer the ship. He's not going to do anything incredibly stupid. He's just going to make easy throws if they're there. He's going to hand off the ball. He's going to run a clean operation by the offense. And then the Titans, outside of the Will Levis interception and the near punt block, they tried. They tried to do the stupid mistake, but they didn't end up making any massive mistakes in this game. This is the formula, folks. And to be honest with you, this is how a lot of teams have been winning in the first month of the NFL season. There's been a lot of ugly football in the NFL. Teams that are winning. Look at the Houston Texans. They're 3-1. And if you listen to Locked On Texans, they want everybody fired because it's been so bad. It's been ugly football the first month, but you can win with ugly football if you aren't the team that shoots yourself in the foot. And the Titans didn't do that because Mason Rudolph didn't do that. He just organized the offense, did what he needed to do, got the ball out, didn't take sacks. I mean, like, this was the game plan against this JV Dolphins team. Just get a win. Just get a single win. And that is exactly what the Tennessee Titans did. So, again, it's been over 1,000 days. The Titans scored 31 points. The Titans were 0-3, and they got a win. The Titans didn't kill themselves in this game. You are allowed to be happy about that, and I dang sure am going to be happy about it. I am going to feel great about it, as a matter of fact. I'm going to feel great about it. It is nice to see your team win a football game. And I couldn't take an 0-4 start. And when it was like 9-6, oh, man, I was worried. But a great second half by the Titans. They wore down the Dolphins defense. They ran the ball like they needed to, and they didn't kill themselves. That is how you win a football game. Now, let's talk about some individual performances because a lot of players played really, really good. Tighten up, tighten down. Let me know yours. We're diving into it. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Titans fans, yes, I'm talking to you. Titans fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game or before the game, Will Levis interception, you can check out the stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same exact page where you place all your bets. It is an all-encompassing hub of NFL information. And right now on FanDuel, you can get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Make sure that you check out America's #1 sportsbook. It's FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com. Titans fans, let's continue this victory recap edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. The Tennessee Titans scored 30 points. They beat the Miami Dolphins 31-12. They moved to 1-3 on the year. We talked about Mason Rudolph coming in for Will Levis, how the Titans just had to follow a simple game plan and not beat themselves, and they were able to do just that. Before I get into Tighten Up, Tighten Down, I do want to thank you for making the Locked On Titans podcast your first listen each and every day. Remember, Monday through Friday, Tennessee Titans content all year round, always for free. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. It's your team every day. My first Tighten Up, and of course, if you're watching on YouTube, let me know your Tighten Ups and your Tighten Downs down below. But my first Tighten Up is for Let's Get It. All right, guys, I know I got rid of the Let's Get It earlier in the year, and my whole idea for this season was I am going to say Let's Get It during the intro when the Titans win. Turn it into something special that we can all enjoy when good things happen. But then they go 0-3, and everybody's like, what the heck? But I just wanted to quickly mention, I threw it in there for you guys, so I hope everybody enjoyed, all right? But my first Tighten Up goes to Brian Callahan. All right, I know that everyone is frustrated by the run, the short passes, the bubble. Brian Callahan has to call the game plan scared because the O-line and the quarterback situation is so dire. And with this offensive line, the right side, the left side, cooking. But with the right side of this, well, I'm not even going to screw right side. We'll say right tackle. Dylan Radins was a boss in this game. Everybody's going to blame him for the one sack that the Titans took on the blitz by the Dolphins. But it was Tyjae Spears who missed his assignment. It was a slide to the left, a full slide to the left, where all four linemen are supposed to slide. And Tyjae Spears missed the blitz pickup. But anyways, whatever. Brian Callahan knows that the quarterback play is not good. And Brian Callahan knows that the offensive line cannot be exposed too much. And he has to call an NFL game plan knowing that the whole time. Brian Callahan is going to be fine, man. Like, people out on Brian Callahan already, like, you are impatient and crazy. Like, Will Levis has done idiotic things every single week for this team. I get if you want to be out on Will Levis already, and let's be honest, I said it recently. I don't think Will Levis will ever be elite. He could maybe have like a Baker Mayfield resurgence with a really good roster around him, but Will Levis is never going to be Josh Allen like some people try to act like and compare that, or Peyton Manning, compare the turnovers. And Brian Callahan has found a way. The Titans should be 3-1. Brian Callahan is going to be fine, man. And also, let me just say, Mike McDaniel may not have enjoyed it, and I get why most coaches wouldn't do it, but Brian Callahan saying, I don't care, we're getting 30 points in this game. Thank you, Brian Callahan. Thank you, Brian Callahan, for not caring about the respect or the mutual partnership. No, your fans deserve 30 points. It's been over 1,000 days. Thank you, Brian Callahan. Tighten up. He broke the curse. Brian Callahan got us over 30 points. Shout out to Callie. All right. But moving into the players. Tony Pollard. Big tighten up. Big tighten up for Tony Pollard. A little shaky at the beginning of the game, but Pollard ran hard. And think about that. Think about that call that got called back when he ran for freaking 40 yards early in the game on a phantom holding call on Cushenberry. That was absolutely not a holding. Okay? The NFL tried to, we'll get to that in a second, tighten down. But Tony Pollard, 22 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. 2 catches, 20 yards. So that's 108 total yards and a touchdown for Tony Pollard on 24 touches. Great game by TP. Good job, Tony Pollard. All right. Love to see that. Love to see it. Not only that, but I'm going to give Tyjae Spears some love too. It wasn't his best game. Again, not a super efficient day, but that touchdown run where he's literally getting contact 5 yards in the backfield, and he jukes out a defensive lineman and runs straight up the gut for a touchdown. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears won this football game for the Titans on the offensive side of the ball by being physical and fast. So everybody, I know that the Derrick Henry 200-yard performance had everybody in a tither, but the Titans running backs are fine. The Titans running backs are fine. Okay? It's fine. We all knew that Derrick Henry was going to go to Baltimore and do well. All right? We knew that. The Titans are fine at running back. Okay? Next Titan up. Let's head to the offensive line. This offensive line. Oh, man. Like, J.C. Latham. Whoa. J.C. Latham was awesome in this game. Awesome. All right. Peter Skoronski. Awesome in this game. Dylan Radins. Awesome in this game. I'm going to give Nicholas Petit-Frere his credit too. He didn't give up a sack. Like, we got to give credit where credit is due. This offensive line was physical all night. Latham, Skoronski, Cush, Radins. And I'll give a little credit to MPF. Like, it was the running backs, it was Brian Callahan, and it was the offensive line. And that's all you need to know. Now, on defense, by far, the number one Titan up on defense was T'Vondre Sweat. The bye week is coming up, and I am going to make my public announcement. I'm going to make my public apology. T'Vondre Sweat stepped up. Jeffrey Simmons, I see people calling him a $100 million cheerleader. That's rude. That's rude. But T'Vondre Sweat was disgusting in this game. He did exactly to Aaron Brewer what we expected. T'Vondre Sweat had, let me double check and make sure I got the stats right for you. T'Vondre Sweat, according to ESPN, had 6 tackles, 3 of them solo, 2 tackles for loss. T'Vondre Sweat was incredible in this game. Boom. Someone screenshot it. Boom. It's an L for your boy. Major L. All right. Here's the reality. I'll give a Titan down to myself for the T'Vondre Sweat draft analysis. T'Vondre Sweat is not the last draft guy that I'm going to be wrong about. And anybody who gives opinions on 300 draft prospects is going to get it wrong. But I was loud wrong. I was blatantly wrong. I was disgustingly, disrespectfully wrong about T'Vondre Sweat. But that's a conversation for a different time. We're talking about the win. But T-Sweat gets the number one Titan up on defense. What a step up in a position with Jeffrey Simmons missing this game. Whoa, what a game for T'Vondre Sweat. Dominant. But also, I thought the linebackers were great. Kenneth Murray and Ernest Jones were sideline to sideline. They were everywhere in this game. Fantastic in this game. Not only that, but I thought Harold Landry played well in this game, got another sack. That's 4 sacks in 4 games if you're counting. Great job by Harold Landry. And I even think Arden Key played okay in this game. Now, he did on the 3rd and long to put the Dolphins in the red zone early in the game. He did let Tyler Huntley out of the hen house, undisciplined in his rush. But he was fine in this game. I'm not going to hate on Arden Key. Quandre Diggs. He had the interception on the 2-point conversion. Sadly, that won't count. But Quandre Diggs was not only good in coverage, he was very, very good. Very good in run defense. Quandre Diggs, man, had a great game out there. Look, it wasn't the best game for L'Jarius Sneed. I think he let Tyreek Hill get a free release off the line of scrimmage a couple too many times. And if Tua's in that game, Tua probably connects on those. So we'll just call that what it is. But overall, this defense, Diggs, Hooker, Landry, Key, Sweat, Sebastian Joseph Day. Sebastian Joseph Day may not be a great player, but that was a very, very solid signing. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. in his return home, stepping in for Cheeto, I thought played well. The defense deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit in this game. Now, we're going to do Titan down. And before I let you go off this high that we're on from the win, let's just take a moment to talk about reality. Before that, I do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Look, Gametime is the best place to buy tickets because they have the best features in the industry. And they just got a brand new feature that makes Gametime even better. It's called Gametime Picks. It makes getting tickets to your favorite live events even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through 1,000 tickets. All right. And to go along with Gametime Picks, they still have the great features we've talked about before. A view from your seat. You get a panoramic view from your seat so you know what you're going to be looking at. And if you toggle on the feature in your app, you're going to have all-in pricing. So the price that you see for your tickets is the price that you pay for your tickets, which if you bought tickets before, you know it's not always like that. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. Titans fans, let's cap off today's victory recap edition of the Locked On Titans podcast. Boy, does it feel good to say that. The Tennessee Titans finally scored 30 points after a 1,000-day drought. T'Vondre Sweat, the offensive line, the running backs, Brian Callahan deserve major Titan ups. The defense really, in total, played very well in this game. But now we are going to talk a little bit of Titan down, but I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different way here, because what I want to do is, we're all on a high right now, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or anything like that, but we do have to have some serious conversations. All right. Number one, Titan down for Will Levis. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again here. If you're still defending Will Levis, you got to wake up. Look what the team did without Will Levis. Mason Rudolph wasn't even good, and the Titans get to 30 points. Now, of course, I know the Dolphins are a crappy team, and it's a JV version of their team. I get it. But at some point in time, you guys got to wake up to what's happening here. Levis is just never going to stop making those big mistakes. He has always been who he is. A leopard isn't going to change his stripes. All right? Will Levis is always going to be a turnover machine who makes boneheaded decisions and makes dumb plays. And it's a perfect example. He turns over the ball, threw an interception right to the Miami Dolphins defensive lineman, and then came off the field and said, I didn't even see him. Well, it's your job to see him. They ran a fire zone blitz. They brought the slots cornerback off the right side and dropped the lineman on the left. It happens every single game, every week in the NFL. Reality. And then he did the other dumb thing that he always does, which is take big hits and put himself in situations to get hurt. And he dove for a third down in the first quarter of a game where, if you're the starting quarterback, just protect yourself. So he makes a stupid turnover because he's a bad decision maker. And then he gets hurt on an unnecessarily physical play. That is the Will Levis experience. So my first Titan down is Will Levis, man. We just got to wake up. Maybe he cleans up the stupid plays. But Will Levis is never going to be the elite quarterback that all Titans fans have been waiting for 20 years. He's not that guy. He's not. So that's a reality here. We've had a whole month into the season. People are, and everybody's, it's not Will Levis, it's the offensive line. The offensive line gave up 1 sack, and it was a blown blitz protection. Not just, the O-line being sucky. The O-line was great tonight. Mason Rudolph got rid of the ball quick. Mason Rudolph didn't step into pressure and get himself sacked. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to give Mason Rudolph a Titan down, but anybody saying that the Titans need to start Mason Rudolph the rest of the year, you get a Titan down. The reality still remains the reality. The Titans need to start Will Levis the rest of the season. 5 wins, because here's the other reality that we need to accept. This team isn't good. They made it as hard as possible. The defense could have gotten cooked multiple times if Tua was in the game. The offense could barely run the football in the first half until they wore down the Dolphins' defense with time of possession at the end. And the Dolphins' defense was still missing players. So here's a reality. Mason Rudolph isn't going to make a difference. The Titans aren't a playoff team with Mason Rudolph. What, you win 3 games with Will Levis and 5 games with Mason Rudolph? The Titans still need to start Will Levis, because either he turns it around or you tank out and get a great draft pick. The question of this season was still, what do we have in Will Levis? And the Titans need to continue to ride that train. Mason Rudolph gives you nothing. The Titans ran the football and played good defense against a JV Dolphins offense. Mason Rudolph did not play good in this game, and Mason Rudolph said it himself. Mason Rudolph, after the game, said, I didn't do anything special. Bill Callahan had a great plan to run the ball this week. I mean, Mason Rudolph was 9 for 17 for 85 yards. He had a 67 quarterback rating. He threw for 5 yards per attempt. Let's not pretend like Mason Rudolph is a difference maker. Let's not pretend like this is Ryan Tannehill coming in for Marcus Mariota. That is not what this is, folks. So, Mason Rudolph is better than Will Levis. You're right about that. But what we need to acknowledge is the Titans have 2 backup quarterbacks on the team. Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. 2 backup quarterbacks. And I see somebody say, no tanking. No, you're tanking with Mason Rudolph. You are tanking with Mason Rudolph. It's just about how bad the tank is going to be. Because if the Titans played the Bears, or if the Titans played the Jets, or the Titans played the Packers last week, Mason Rudolph isn't leading them to a win. When the Titans play the Colts in week 6, when the Titans play the Bills and the Lions, they aren't winning with Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph can't drive the ball down the field. Mason Rudolph can't create explosive plays in the passing game. The team is not good with Mason Rudolph. Somebody said this to me on Twitter, and I forget your name, and I apologize. But Mason Rudolph is better than Will Levis. But Mason Rudolph still isn't good. Can people understand that as a thought concept? Mason Rudolph is better than Will Levis, but Mason Rudolph still isn't good. Like, what are we talking about, you know? So the reality here is the Titans still need a quarterback. That's the reality. So they still need to start Will Levis the rest of the year, but they're both backup quarterbacks. So, I mean, that is the reality that you all need to accept. They still need to play Will Levis, and Mason Rudolph ain't changing much. Maybe a win or 2. But is that really what's best for the Titans? No. Having Will Levis in there to do a full season, and wherever that takes you, is what is best for the Tennessee Titans. Now, I also want to give a Titan down to the referees. The refs tried their best to ruin this game early on for the Titans. I mean, like, let me look. Blowing that fumble dead, that should have been a touchdown for Arden Key. But they blew the fumble dead, even though it was a clear backwards pass. The DeAndre Hopkins spot on second down, that Will Levis had the quarterback sneak for the first? The Will Levis spot where he dove and got hurt. The phantom holding call on Lloyd Cushenberry. What was that? The Snead taunting penalty? He knocked the ball out of the guy's hands after the play was over. We're calling taunting on that for 15 yards? Overturning the punt fumble where the Dolphins touched the ball and then NWI took it away? That was simultaneous, and it was ruled Titans possession on the field. How do you have conclusive evidence to overturn that? So, I mean, the Titans won, but man, the referees certainly tried their best to keep the Dolphins in it for as long as they possibly could. I mean, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. All right, well, I see idiots in the chat saying the Titans traded Derrick Henry. If you don't even know, like, oh, man, some people are just so stupid, and they don't even realize how dumb they actually are. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's hard to talk football out here with the casuals, but that's why I love my everydayers here on the Locked On Titans podcast who, you know, either they know themselves or they're smart enough to listen to the show so that they're informed. Like, how are you going to talk crap in a chat room saying the Titans traded Derrick Henry when he left as a free agent on his own will? Man, hilarious. Hilarious stuff. Morons everywhere. God. But doesn't matter. The Titans won. They scored 30 points. And we head into the bye off of victory. It feels good. Anyways, that is going to do it for me today, folks. Make sure that you get subscribed, stay subscribed. Remember, this is the #1 Tennessee Titans podcast in the world and has been for multiple years running. All right? You don't want to miss the content that I'm bringing you every single day. Tighten up in the chat. Thumbs up in the video. That's going to do it for me today. As always, I am your host, Tyler Rowland, and this was Locked On Titans.